main deck path to exile. So a few tricks up her sleeve. On her right, David McDarby, Star City Games sweatshirt on there. Snapcaster Mage, Goblin Guide, Delver, Grim Lavamancer. So he's playing a really similar deck to Andrew Schneider, who we saw last round also.
Right. David McDarby, for the record, is one of our 5 undefeated players.
Okay. So David McDarby, a little different from Andrew Schneider's. His departures are Searing Blaze, Fire Blast, and that's about it. 3 Force of Will, 2 days, 3 Spell Pierce.
Right, so really a lot of different options as far as burn spells are concerned. In the form of, Searing Blaze, something we wouldn't have normally expected. So turn 1, fetch land from David McDarby, followed by fetch land into Mother of Runes for Giovanna Dimperio. Among our undefeated players, we have 5 of them. Among them, you've seen Thomas Enevoldsen. He's currently undefeated. Also, Jerry Thompson.
Yeah, those are some names that we've featured before.
Quite possibly.
The last one, Deshaun Baylock.
Yeah, we haven't seen Jerry. We actually haven't seen on camera today. He's playing Dredge.
Yeah, that's probably why we haven't seen him on camera today.
So turn 2, Noble Hierarch, dropping Dryad Arbor. Remember that the Mother of Runes was actually dazed by David.
So David's turn, he has a Mountain, and he'll Chain Lightning.
Right, Chain Lightning on the Noble Hierarch. Having a turn, at least these burn spells having to go at Giovanna's creatures, that's probably where she'd want them to be.
Yeah, exactly. The longer this game goes, the better her chances are. Her knights will quickly outclass most anything in Dave McDarby's deck.
Yeah, Maze of Ith comes down, and now Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, takes it onto the battlefield.
Yeah.
She also has a Knight of the Reliquary in hand, currently does not have the ability to cast it. But with 1 more land, David McDarby appears to not have too many answers to it.
No, but he did just draw Price of Progress, and right now, that's for 6 damage on Giovanna.
Right. Once Giovanna gets the Knight of the Reliquary in play, which she can here, what she should be careful about doing is knighting her non-basics into basics, if she can.
Right. Now, not everybody knows that these blue decks play Price of Progress, but if you're aware of the card, there's no reason not to play around it.
She's going to make Noble Hierarch.
Yep, she says attack phase.
Yeah, that doesn't actually swing for more damage as she could have swung Dryad Arbor if she wanted.
Right.
And then she will pass the turn.
Probably doesn't want to get dazed, although if Dave McDarby had a daze, I think he would have countered that Thalia.
Probably.
But either way, saving the Knight of the Reliquary for another time.
And Thalia, a really rough card against the blue-red Delver decks.
Yeah.
Everything in there, they're so tight on their mana. And they typically play 2 to 3 spells in a turn.
Right. Dave McDarby there. I believe that white bordered card is a Brainstorm. That'll certainly help him. He has a Force of Will, Snapcaster Mage, Price of Progress, Goblin Guide, and a fetch land.
And once he gets his 4th land, he can Snapcast that Chain Lightning.
Right. Yep, that is a beautiful 5th edition Brainstorm. Staying classy as David McDarby. Now, if you're going to make your Brainstorms white-bordered, why not make your basics white-bordered too? At least keep it a little consistent there.
Right.
But he'll decide on fetch land. And he's using it. What do you think he's going to do here?
Well, yeah, he has no utility lands, but it looks like he's going for the Snapcaster, the Chain Lightning play, would be my guess.
Right. He really doesn't like Thalia. Thalia will stop the Goblin Guide beatdown. It'll stop the Snapcaster beatdown. Just really has to get that out of the way.
Yeah, so Snapcaster, Chain Lightning, paying the extra mana, getting rid of Thalia. Remember, currently, when Giovanna decides to, and she's cracking a fetch land, so when she decides to cast the Knight of Reliquary, it will be at least a 4/4. David McDarby does now have a Force of Will for it, however.
Right.
Now that Thalia is not in play, he can actually cast it. So in these matchups, appear that we're going late. Who would you say going late favors?
Oh, definitely Giovanna. Her creatures are huge, and Dave McDarby's Goblin Guides just get way worse over time.
Yeah, Sword's the Snapcaster Mage. Sword's not a particularly strong card in this matchup, I don't think.
Not really. She would rather hit a Goblin Guide with it. She would rather hit.
If she plays a fetch land and makes Knight of the Reliquary, probably she could have swung Dryad Arbor this turn, which I think was probably the correct play.
Right. I think what she wanted to do, she wanted to keep Daze mana up, but even so, she has to realize that he probably would have dazed that Thalion. He probably doesn't have a daze.
The Knight of the Reliquary was met with forced pitching Brainstorm. So, of McDarby's cards left, he has a Price of Progress, a Fire Blast, and another red card.
Goblin Guide.
So Giovanna has to be careful. She's ready to take a lot of damage from the Price of Progress. Goblin Guide, quite embarrassing against Mazavith.
Yeah.
And she's going to go with a Terravore.
Wow. So one,
currently
2, 3, 4 lands, I think.
Oh, it's a 4/4 Trampler.
5/5 on
Pretty
command.
much a 5/5. Yeah, 5/5 on command. She just has to be careful that she does not get double priced here.
Right. Now, when your opponent has Island Mountain, that should raise some flags in your head about Price of Progress. You should ask yourself, why doesn't my opponent have any volcanic islands? Why doesn't he have any non-basics at all?
She's going to crack fetch land. Terravore, that's this card typically getting Savannah.
She's in for a rude awakening.
Yeah, you should be getting basics at this point.
That's
currently 10 damage is that we're looking at?
Yeah.
Mother of Runes in play, her whole hand's on the table. She's actually only at 7 at the moment.
Yeah, he has a Price of Progress.
She's actually, at 3. Got Price of Progress to deal 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. X2 is 10, down to 7. Fire Blast means she's effectively at 3.
And that's the Lightning Bolt.
And that's the Lightning Bolt.
Lightning Bolt you, and Fire Blast.
So Dave McDarby got lucky drawing all that burn, but easily could have been prevented by Giovanna by just getting basic lands.
I'm not sure if the only time where she really needed a basic land was that last one, I think. Maybe she could have done it the time before, but even so, on that board, David McDarby does not have to go through very much work to find, 2 more points of burn. It's possible he wins that race anyway.
He doesn't, but anytime you're playing a deck and you find yourself with 5 non-basics and an empty hand, there's probably something you could have done differently to get a basic at some point.
Guarantee that's probably a play she won't make, some mistake she won't make again.
I agree.
That was certainly a game she felt like she had in hand and now doesn't have.
Yep.
All right, sideboard cards for Giovanna Dimperio. She has. She has 3 chokes in her sideboard, and I think those will come. I would imagine those come in. They're not. It's debatable. I think I would board in choke here.
Choke, yeah. I mean, with the number of basic islands that she saw, she has to assume that none of his blue mana comes from other lands.
Outside of that, her other cards, Enlightened Tutor, Dueling Grounds, Path to Exile, Oblivion Ring. Nothing I'm really excited about playing. She has a Surgical Extraction. Hopefully that does not get boarded in either.
Right. I mean, she has some marginal things. I would probably board in the Bajuka Bug. That can take out the entire graveyard for Snapcaster, but
yeah, the Bajuka Bug with the crop rotation.
Exactly.
That's probably better than a lot of the things currently in the deck.
Yeah, her deck, though, pretty well set up to beat this red-blue deck. If the game goes past turn 3, 4, 5-ish, she should definitely win.
And that's one of the reasons why Maverick is such a popular deck, is that it has a very good Delver matchup.
Right, exactly.
Remember, with a win here, David McDarby pretty much secures his top 8 spot. Giovanna will still have some work to do if she wins.
Yeah, she's X01 right now. David McDarby X0. So he's looking for 1 more win. She'll need 2 more at the very least. And they're battling here in round 6 of our Legacy Open in Cincinnati, Ohio. Dave McDarby's sideboard, on the other hand, I'll run it down for you. He has 4 Surgical Extraction, he has 3 Pyroblast, he has 3 Submerge, 2 Sulfuric Vortex, and 1 of Searing Blaze, Blue Elemental Blast, Force of Will.
Well, I like Searing Blaze, actually, in this matchup. Not a card you typically see, but I really do like it here.
Yeah, this is exactly the matchup it shines in.
Submerges will probably also be boarded in.
Yep, I think we'll see Dave McDarby board in 3 Submerge, we'll see him board in 1 Searing Blaze. Sulfuric Vortex, depending on what kind of life gain he puts her on, that could be. Umezawa's Jite, Batterskull, these cards are a lot less scary when they can't actually gain the life.
Now, how good is Spell Pierce in this matchup? Dave has 3 of those in the main deck.
It can catch something, it can catch a Green Sun, it can catch a Swords to Plowshares, but...
Is it the card that comes out?
Yeah, I think so. I don't really like it too much. Force of Will, also not actively great, but it's really important to stop things like Thalia, like a Knight of Reliquary, things like that. You have to leave in some number.
Right.
I don't think he wants to board the 4th in, and he might even want to board 1 out.
Well, one of the things that I've always heard Rug Delver players described, Force of Will is a terrible, terrible card in Rug Delver. You play it in the deck because you need it to keep the format honest, and because Force of Will is too, I'm quoting here, is too good not to play. But at the same time, Blue-Red Delver hates 2-for-1ing itself. You know, so whenever possible, you try not to have to Force of Will.
Right. I mean, Force of Will is a split card. It's good, terrible. You know, it's either really, really good at saving you, it's making sure you don't die. Sometimes it just rots in your hand, though. Sometimes you have to 2-for-1 yourself.
When you're countering, you know, a somewhat irrelevant spell, it's really not a good card.
Yeah, it's miserable. But that said, sometimes you have to leave a couple in your deck, just to hedge against really powerful draws. So, Giovanna Dimperio going to 6 cards. Dave McDarby looks comfortable with his hand's on the table. She's on the play, though. So I think she's definitely favored. She just has to get a fast start.
Right.
Now, it's pretty interesting to note that she has 0 Stoneforge Mystic. She's completely ignored that card. She's still playing 2 GT, but she says, you know, the Stoneforge Mystic is too slow.
Yeah,
she doesn't need it.
Stoneforge Mystic really has fallen out of favor in Maverick decks. I think that they found that really the disruptive creatures plan is usually a little more secure for them.
Right.
Giovanna starts out on a turn 1 Cavern of Souls, very relevant in this matchup, into Mother Burns. And, well, McDarby has a lightning bolt for it, you know, killing it the red way instead of the blue way.
Right, and you know, really, Dave McDarby would prefer not to have to point his burn at these creatures.
Wasteland, and then another human, Thalia, comes down uncounterable.
Right.
That's rough for Dave.
Yeah, and Dave has to spend his entire turn dealing 3 damage to that card, not to Giovanna's phase like he'd rather be doing. The fact is, he has 2 Goblin Guide in his hand, and those are dead if Thalia's in play, and not attacking. Alternatively, he could play a Delver here. But no, it looks like he is going to Chain Lightning or Lightning Bolt that Thalia.
Yeah.
So now, if I'm Giovanna, the fact that he started on Volcanic Island into Scalding Tarn for Volcanic Island, I'm a little less worried about Price of Progress right now.
Right. And Grim Lavamancer, so he's going to try to get around Thalia that way. Grim Lavamancer, Delver of Secrets. Giovanna does hit her land. There you go. Straight up, right down. She may want to fetch for a white source to get rid of Grim Lavamancer. It's interesting. She has this path. She has a Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah, I mean, Grim Lavamancer, that's a must kill.
It's the swing with Thalia.
There's really no way she can let that live.
It's so good against the creatures in the deck. Yep, she's going to Wasteland, waste the Bulk, sacrifice. Yep, definitely seems like she's winding up for the Swords to Plowshares.
For sure.
Gonna grab Savannah. And this is one of those situations where, yep, getting the non-basic is completely correct.
Yeah, she has to, otherwise she can't cast the swords. If it was a Windswept Heath, she probably would have thought about it. Savannah still probably would have been correct.
And 2 mana, Swords to Plowshares. Comes down on Delver of Secrets.
Wow.
I probably would have put it. That's not the creature I was imagining she was going to point it at.
Yeah, that seems really poor to me. That Lavamancer is just going to take out her Thalia, and she's only left with a Dryad Arbor and a Sylvan Library.
Well, the problem is once Thalia is gone, David McDarby's whole hand becomes activated.
Yeah, his deck just speeds up greatly. Hers stays pretty much the same.
He's only on 1 land, but I have to think he's really happy to just shoot Thalia, say go.
Right. He's thinking of brainstorming right now, try and find a land.
Yeah, I mean, if you can brainstorm and find a land, it's a great play. The real reason is I don't think I want to do it.
Oh, never mind. He can't cast brainstorm, of course. There's a
Thalia. Sorry about that. Yeah, that would be.
We're
that's
just
another
silly.
good reason not to do it. But I mean, nonetheless, even if it was a legal play, I actually just like killing off the Thalia.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to get greedy there. Brainstorm's going to do just the same amount of work next turn.
She can waste away. She should immediately wasteland away David's last land.
Oh, for sure.
That way he's going to be at the mercy of the top of his deck. She has so many fewer cards than him. I actually think her hope is to get a little lucky here, but she can, if she wastes him off his last land and she drops her Sylvan Library post combat because it's a non-creature spell. So what she does is she wastes him. Then he uses the red mana to kill Thalia. Now that Thalia's dead, she can play her Sylvan Library.
Right, and
then she hopes if David doesn't draw lands, Sylvan Library will certainly draw her into a threat, and then she can just hopefully ride 1 or 2 threats to victory.
Yeah, I really don't like her line here. I would have not played the Wasteland, and then I would have attacked, because David Darby probably going to Grim Lavamancer that.
But if she wants to force the Grim activation, yes, and that's exactly it. She wastes there. So he's got her, right?
He's going to float a red now. Oh, he can't cast that. He can't cast that.
Hold on, whoa. Hold on, he can't, that is...
And he's drawn 3 extra cards.
3 extra cards. That's going to... We're going to have to stop on that. That's pretty bad. There's going to be... Yeah, and she notices it too.
Yeah, and hopefully this game state will be repairable. We can probably tell what 3 cards he drew.
I know I'm not positive on Judge Rulings, but I believe once the cards touch his hand, even if he hasn't rearranged his hand, they're considered indistinguishable from the other cards in his hand. I don't think you can just say, oh, these top 3 in my hand were the ones I drew. I think once they touch the grip, it's,
right.
You're done.
That's definitely usually the ruling. The camera might make this one a little different, though. We'll wait and see what the judge rules.
Yeah. Really unfortunate. So here's the cincher, is that it does not look like any of those top 3 cards were lands.
No.
So if that's the case, they're letting him put back 3 cards at random. That's huge. That's huge, and that can't be right, because what if he gets one of those lands off it? That's can't be the correct
Yeah,
resolution.
if I was Giovanna, I would definitely appeal that.
I'd appeal this immediately. Because David has essentially gotten to draw 3, discard 3 at random.
Right. Certainly not fair. So looks like they're talking it over right now. She's probably saying the same thing to the judge. She knows that that's not fair either.
Yeah, I mean, David McDarby, I don't know if there was a land in those, but yeah, they should.
Drew Levin says on Twitter, classic illegal brainstorm.
Right.
Standard classic
and the problem is, by just putting 3 back at random, the problem is if he did get a land in here, he's completely repaired his game state.
Right.
And, that's certainly not allowable.
So it looks like the judge explaining a ruling to Dave McDarby. We're not sure what it is, but we'll let you know as soon as we do.
Yeah.
Now, the reason that I was saying that...
The Wasteland, for sure the Valk is dead, however... now he has his land.
Yeah, that's a really bad ruling, I think. Again, we're not positive what the judge said or what the ruling is.
But this is Giovanna's really not getting a fair shake here.
Yeah, and she was, oh man, that's tough. Dave McDarby now can Grim Lavamancer that Thalia. She's not out of the game or anything. She does have that Sylvan Library.
Yep, she's going to attack with the Thalia. Yep, and this is going to activate. Yeah. All right. So, yep, he's going to crack the fetch line, and now he's activated his whole hand.
So he'll use that fetch land, clearing away those cards at random that were on the top of his deck. He'll get a basic land, so it can't be wastelanded. And Thalia will go down. She'll cast a Sylvan, though. So she'll be able to get the best of the 3 cards from the top of her deck, still at a healthy life total. Dave McDarby, though, with the force of will. Definitely the right play there. Sylvan Library, way too powerful at 19 life. So, to those of you saying on Twitter that they can't change the rules because it's on camera, well, that's not really true, because if the game state is repairable, they want the judges to have as little intervention as possible. They want the game state to be as it should be. And, usually only the head judge has the ability to reverse that ruling or to make an exception to the MTR, but only if appealed, though.
Yep. Well, we will keep you informed on any judging decisions that happen here, but we will proceed with this game as played right now, as that's what the players have done.
Right.
And as events develop, we will let you know about it. Thank you so much for people who are weighing in on the situation. It is a difficult situation. It is being worked on.
Right.
Continuing on though, the fact that now the Sylvan Library was force of willed, Giovanna really doesn't have any way to get back into this game. It doesn't seem.
Right. Did he have that Force of Will before the brainstorm?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Yeah, the Force of Will was in his hand, but he couldn't cast it due to Thalia.
So another Grim Lavamancer comes down. Giovanna draws a green Sun Zenith.
Yeah, so the 7 Library is likely needing a Force of Will regardless.
Right. This is like Green Bay, Seattle all over again from Casey Hoopka.
Really unfortunate. So let's see. Left in her hand, Giovanna has her Dryad Arbor. She has a Green Sun Zenith. The problem is I don't think any cards are really going to help her in this situation.
No, she really needs something like a Knight of the Reliquary here. That would be a 5/5. That would be big enough to survive the Lavamancers. And if she plays Dryad Arbor, that will probably fall to the Grim Lavamancer.
Alright. Players, the green creatures she can find here, none of them really big enough. The problem is that David McDarby has enough cards to just actually in his graveyard and hand to almost just burn her to the face for 16. Well, in his graveyard he has 2, 4. I mean, I guess not yet, but he has the ability to get there very quickly.
Right.
So she's Zenithing for 2. With that, she can find Scavenging Ooze, which is probably her best option.
Definitely.
Except that the problem is that it can get Lavamancer. And, you know, she may have wanted to wait till the Dryad Arbor wasn't 6 so that she could protect it from being Grim Lavamancered. All her green 2-drops are actually vulnerable to Grim Lavamancer right now, so that's going to hit the bin no matter what it is, I think.
Yeah, I think I would have waited one more turn, gone to grab a Terravore.
That's not to say that things are looking good for her anyway. You know, waiting a turn, he could just as likely blow up her Dryad Arbor, then she doesn't hit a land. You know, these lines aren't good either. She's
right.
So that, you know, you can't criticize too much for making a line that's a little weak when all your lines are probably losing.
Yeah, she goes and grabs a Scrib Ranger.
And I like that.
Marginally better than a Pride Mage.
Sure.
Yeah.
She's gonna have to run 2 or 3 times to get into this game, and this is as fine a way as any to start. All right.
So Dave McDarby's main phase. He has a lot of options. He'll Submerge. That has Pro Blue though. That's not a legal play. Both players seem pretty flustered here. I think they both know that wasn't a good ruling. David McDarby's body language, it doesn't seem like he wants to be winning this way. He should probably be Grim Lavamancing the Scrib Ranger right now. And swinging it.
Bounce it before the Scrib Ranger dies. She manages to bounce the land back to her hand.
Yep, but now David McDarby in a commanding position. 3 creatures to Giovanna Dimperio's 0. He has one Grim Lavamancer activation, and I believe a Ponder in hand. So really 2 Grim Lavamancer activations. And Giovanna with just a Dryad Arbor and a GT on top of her deck.
She managed to make him without his GT. So unfortunately, he's going to have to find a creature to equip it to. And McDarby. Yeah. So McDarby's going to deny her that creature to put the GTA onto.
So Goblin Guide hits the land. It's likely to be too little, too late. Giovanna Dimperio needs a creature right now, and only finds the Wooded Foothills. David McDarby's hand is stocked. He has 2 Submerges and a Chain Lightning. Thalia on top of her deck will momentarily pick up a GTA, but will not do too much here.
Right, and Ponder out of David McDarby. She's at 12. The problem is, yeah, sticking a creature is going to be very hard. As long as David can reload his graveyard here, he should have enough damage to take out whatever creature she plays. Her current Knight of the with the exception of a Knight of the Reliquary, which actually would be big enough to survive. I don't know if it would be big enough to race here, though. Like, you know, maybe she draws Knight of the Reliquary and makes one. I mean, she could, as long as she can get GTA on it, there's a chance. The biggest problem is, yeah, David McDarby. All right, and he's going for the burn plan. Giovanna now down to 9.
Right, she needs a Knight on her next draw phase, I believe, to have a chance here.
Right, and Thalia back into play. Thalia, unfortunately, still another card that can be Grim Lavamancer.
Yeah, and because Giovanna knows about the Submerge in Dave McDarby's hand, she's not playing her Savannah.
Right.
So
no, can't submerge. She doesn't have one. So he's gonna instead go for the Grim Lavamancer activation.
And coming in for 3.
Yep, Giovanna does get a land chain, but does concede the game. He does have the burn spell. So David McDarby defeats Giovanna Dimperio 2-0.
Yep, he will move on to 6-0. She'll drop to 4-1-1.
4-1, likely in a tournament of this size, out of the running, but she does have very high tiebreakers. She's top of tiebreakers heading into this. If she can win her next 2, she stands a good shot of sneaking into 8th place.
Right.